Hello, and welcome back to your favorite knowledge drip, that is Wild Thoughts, with your host, The Big Bang. Today, we did it. We started the knowledge drip with the correct pronunciation, which is the knowledge drip, that is. And in the last podcast, it was titled The Procrastination of Time. And we went over auto-suggestion, and we went over what I have written down for auto-suggestion. Now, in this episode of Wild Thoughts, I'm going to jump into what one of my favorite authors so far that I have came across, Mr. Mr. Napoleon Hill here, what he was talking about with the thought of auto-suggestion and how it works. And I just want to dive into that a little more deeper, and just for the reason that auto-suggestion is going to take you a few times to get to understand. And if you were listening to the last podcast, the last knowledge drip that I poured all over your little bitch tits, it was great. And it was perfect, and it was exactly how it should have been. In this one, we're going to go over auto-suggestion, though, just a little more intense, a little more deeper, a little more pounding of your heart type shit. Get into your subconscious mind and your believing into your auto-suggestion of yourself to tell yourself what you need to do in order to become who you need to become. But before I do that, I wanted to say thank you to all the great listeners out there. Yesterday, when I did the knowledge drip, we were at 798 followers on this knowledge drip, and I put out the call on Snapchat. You can follow me on Snapchat if you don't have it. I'll give you that information in a little bit. But on the Snapchat, I put out a call for 800 listeners. Yes, it was only 2. That was all we needed, was to hit 800. And what did we get? We got 3. Now, is the auto-suggestion working for us? Is the auto-suggestion of our life telling us that we are doing decently enough to live a life worth living? I believe so. The auto-suggestion that we had told ourselves of how to get the listeners from 798 to 800, and it worked. And now we're up to 801, which is amazing, great. We're growing at a rapidly fast pace. 3 a day, that's big time. You can't even have... Like, it would take you just alone to have, like, one person would take you at least 9 months. So to get 3 in one day, I'll accept that affirmation of the auto-suggestion, and I'm very happy and I'm very glad for it. And I want to get into our another sponsor today. And, of course, we're going to be doing animal sponsors. And today's animal sponsor is the spotted dogs. Yes, the wild dogs of Africa. I don't know if you've ever watched any Planet Earth, Animal Planet shows like that on YouTube or Netflix, whatever ones you have and desire to watch it on. But the wild dogs are an amazing little creature out there. They're not much bigger than like a 50-pound dog, but here's the thing. They come in packs. They come in massive packs, 25, 30 of them. Could you imagine 25 or 30 of these dogs coming at you? And I was watching on one of the episodes, and it was showing this hyena, and it was coming in to take what was rightfully his, at least what that hyena thought was rightfully should be his, the meat of another dead animal that the wild painted dogs had destroyed and were eating. And here comes this little hyena charging in there one at a time. He's moving his little fucking limbs, and he's walking in there. He thinks he's badass. Well, let me tell you something. Those wild dogs, they weren't having any type of shit with that hyena. They started attacking it. And when wild dogs attack, they don't attack for throats. They don't attack for, to suffocate you. They attack to eat you alive. They attack. That's how they eat their prey. They eat their prey from their anal first, and they eat them while they're still alive. And that's what they were doing to this hyena. They were attacking it. They were grabbing it by the balls, and they were pulling on it with their sharp teeth and biting in its legs. And I was watching this hyena, and it got away. There was like 10 dogs that were biting it over and over again, and yet it still got away. But after that, the wild dogs looked very ecstatic, very punctual. I think animals have feelings. I know they have feelings. They have fear and they get hurt. You know, people say that some animals don't have feelings, but they do. And these wild dogs are our sponsor today. And the reason I want them to be our sponsor is because of the pack mentality. The way they run together, the way they eat together, their hierarchy, their way one like adult dog will take care of like 10 little puppy dogs. You know what I'm saying? And these dogs are just rolling together, and they're moving together, and they sitting there slowly conquering what they need. They have the abundance of what they need because of how many there are able to get what they need to do. And I feel a little bit like that has been part of Wild Thoughts now that I'm seeing it, that people have been sharing this knowledge drip with their friends, with their families, with their haters, and everything else. And as we slowly cross through this mediocre world and find ourselves that living in true abundance of life, that it's going to be easier because our pack is growing. And when it grows to 801, 802, 803, those are grateful, very thankful numbers for everything that everyone has poured into and taken the time to listen to the knowledge drip that is Wild Thoughts with your host, The Big Bang. And now I want to jump into something that actually I wrote a very long time ago, and it's titled I Am God. Make a Million. And I'm pretty sure I went over this one time probably on one of the old knowledge drips. And as I think about it, the reason I only go over stuff one time is because I don't want to be repetitive. But here's the thing. Just like I was reading today in my favorite book, The Law of Success by Napoleon Hill. If you don't have your book yet, what's wrong with you? Because I need to we go over some stuff, and you need to be able to know what I'm talking about when I talk about this, because it's all in the book, and you can get the book for sure. You should go get the book and read it like 4 times, because I'm on my 3rd time right now reading it, and it's just starting to make sense to me. It's just amazing the power of repetitivity. And now that I see that, I look and I go, you know, I could go back through all of my notebooks and I can keep reading what I have written down on the knowledge drip. That way it's a little firm reminder, affirmation to me that what I am doing is on the correct roll of life and the correct film of foreverness before our death of time and our beautiful spotted dogs come eat us from the asshole first while we're still alive and breathing, and they eat your insides as you breathe, and your heart still beats, but guess what? They're eating all your asshole straight up. That's right, that's what those dogs do. So let's get into this little thing I have written for you. It's not dated, so I don't know when it is, and I don't know where this happened at. I don't know where this was written at, because I didn't date it. I didn't write down nothing on it. All right, this is called I Am a God. So let's begin. In a dream, in a vision of the night, when deep sleep falls upon men while slumbering on their beds, then he opens the ears of men and seals their instructions. Job 33:15-16. I am well. I am content. I am peaceful. I am happy. I am prosperous. I am abundant, like the wild dogs of the African plains, or the wild dogs of like Georgia. They got wild dogs there too. I am God. I am God. I am God. At the basic core of each and every one of us are just that. Now tell yourself, I am God. I know that I am pure spirit, that I always have been, and that I always will be. There is inside of me a place of confidence and quietness and security, where all things are known and understood. This is the universal mind of God, which I am a part of, and which responds to me as I ask of it. The universal mind knows the answer to all my problems, and even now the answers are speeding their way to me. I needn't struggle for them. I need not to worry or strive for them. When the time comes, the answer will be there. I give my problems to the great mind of God. I let go of them, confident that the correct answers will return to me when they are needed, through the great law of attraction. You can also do that as a law of autosuggestion. Everything in life that I need for my work and fulfillment will come to me. It is not necessary that I strain for this or about this. Only believe, for in the strength of my belief, my faith will make it so. I see the hand of divine intelligence all about me, in the flower, the trees, the river, the meadow. I know that the intelligence that created all these things in me and for me and around me, and that I can call upon it for my slightest need. I know that my body is a manifestation of pure spirit, and that spirit is perfect. Therefore, my body is perfect. Also, I enjoy life. For each day brings constant demonstration of the power and wonder of the universe and myself. I am confident. I am serene. I am sure. No matter what obstacle or undesirable circumstance crosses my path, I refuse to accept it, for it is nothing but an illusion. There can be no obstacle or undesirable circumstance to the mind of God, which is in me, around me, and serves me now. That is the great lesson of God. All right, we are done with that. I hope you enjoyed that little start off for the day. I can't believe, I also figured out the cell phone, guys, the new iPod I got. So now it's not turning off on me. So now I know exactly what time we're at. I know exactly where I'm at. I know exactly how to be. And I know my times very well. And before we finish some auto suggestions by the word of Napoleon Hill, I wanted to do some things that we haven't done in a long time, actually. It probably hasn't been that long, but it's been at least a week. Maybe a week, maybe 2 weeks, I'm not sure. But I want to go over some affirming affirmations for your thoughts, some affirmations, some affirming your thought suggestions. And these affirmations are going to be a little bit more in depth than normal. Most affirmations we do is so blatant and not a definite chief aim, and I'm going to try to get more into a definite chief aim when I write the affirmations for myself. And I hope that you're writing your own affirmations as well. I mean, you should be getting some ideas. You should be having your own ideas and how you want to live your life by this point. And if you need me to continue to talk to you, to think and help you grow your mind so that you can begin to start your own affirmations, start your own business, start your own thing that you want to do, then you need to write down your affirmations. You need to write down your goals, because I can't tell you your fucking goals. I can't enlighten you on your goals, all right? But I can enlighten you on my goals, and hopefully that will give you some great perspectives of life, of how to enjoy your life and how to enjoy your motherfucking job. Whew, I like that book. That book's by Dale Carnegie. It's a great book. If you haven't read that book, I suggest you read it too. Now, you guys got to remember, I read 2 books. I don't read a lot. I read a lot, but I don't skip over books. I read them and I read them again. The reason I do that is because I need to understand. And just going through it one time One time is not going to give you sufficient answers to your problems. It's not going to solve anything. If you're reading just to read as the air conditioning turns on, what a blessed and abundant world we live in. And when you read, you should read to understand. And maybe you're one of those people that can understand stuff in the first take. You know, not me, not young Big Bang. I can't understand it yet. I'm pursuing that goal eventually, and that's why I'm continually to do this, to continually strive to push myself to a limit where man has already been through infinite intelligence, which also we're going to go over today. It's going to be great. Oh man, do I got some good knowledge for your little butthole that's about to be eaten by those wild dogs today. Oh yes, I do. Now, we're at 15 minutes and 55 seconds. Let's start these affirmations that I wrote today around the 16 minute and 10 second mark. Take a break. Take a breath. You've had a long, serious day. It's time to relax and think about other things. Affirming your thoughts through the auto-suggestion. I define my life. I use and know what I think will happen. I desire to use infinite knowledge. Right, before we move on to the next one, I desire to use infinite knowledge. This is why you need to get the book. If you don't have the book, you need to get the book. You need to read the book. So when I say something, you can reference to your own idea of what infinite knowledge is. Or if you understand what infinite knowledge is, that's good for you. I understand that I get what I think. I know nothing can be built without truth and justice. Self-confidence formula. I am constantly reaffirming my life. I am able to practice the definite chief aim. I utilize my thought patterns to my advantage. I am the ultimate God and decider of life. That's funny. I move to the captain of my minds. I believe in myself. I know a lot of people are supporting me because I seriously support myself. I am never lacking anything. I find it easy to support myself. I have been successful in my life. I have thanked my failure. I make my happiness. I deserve to live my life. I always have positive thoughts. I feel my body is great. I know that I am healthy. I will be myself. I have the faith in myself. I understand my own self-thoughts. I am qualified to be happy. I will never not be my best supporter. I will affirm my actions and thoughts. I have no choice but to be successful. I know my definite chief aim in life. I am aware that it gets easier. I have full faith that I will live in my mind. I think about my definite chief aim continuously. I find my knowledge is just beginning. I will always have no doubt in myself. I make all my thoughts into practical reality. I will make my life simple. I now am aware of my true abilities. I seek knowledge and to understand it. I will be the best I can. I always know how to get money. I find wealth always comes to me. I know my thoughts dominate my life. I follow and do what my heart desires. I always control my actions and thoughts. I am afraid of not failing. I think of what I need and get it. I am patient with myself. I am patient with others. I will control my thoughts, for I know my thoughts will create and manifest what I truly desire, eliminating negative seed thoughts. I now trust the process of my mind and fully believe in myself. Big bang. All right, that's all the affirmations today. Now, let's get into what some auto suggestions by Napoleon Hill. And the one thing I really wanted to go over today was the beginning of the thinking man. And this is really good. I'm really excited to share this with all of you listeners that don't have the book and have yet to read it. So we're going to trace the thinking man through 5 evolutionary steps through which we believe he has traveled, beginning with the very lowliest named. Of course, we're going to start with the lowest form first. But before we start with the tracing of the thinking man, if you don't know what that is, that's all right. But if you want to know what it is, I'm about to give it to you at the 21-minute and 30-second mark. So here we go. The mineral period. Here we find life in its lowest form, lying motionless and inert, a mass of mineral substance with no power to move. Second one. Then comes the vegetable period. Here we find life in a more active form, with intelligence sufficient to gather food, grow and reproduce, but still unable to move from its fixed moorings. 3. Then comes the animal period. Here we find life is in a still higher and more intelligent form, with the ability to move from place to place. You know what else can move from place to place? Our sponsor today. You guys remember it? Yeah, you do. You remember it. The wild dogs. That would be one of the third ones right there. So see, everything just seems to be exactly how it should be. The fourth one of the traces of the thinking man. Then comes the human or the thinking man period, where we find life in its highest known form. The highest because man can think, and because thought is the highest known form of organized energy. In the realm of thought, man knows no limitations. He can send his thoughts to the stars with the quickness of a flash of lightning. He can gather facts and assemble them in new and varying combinations. He can create hypotheses and translate them into physical reality. Through thought, he can reason both inductively and deductively. The fifth one. Then comes the spiritual period. On this plane, the lower forms of life described in the previous mentioned 4 periods converge and become infinitutant in nature. At this point, thinking man has unfolded, expanded, and grown until he has projected his thinking ability into infinite intelligence. As yet, thinking man is but an infant in this 5th period, for he has not learned how to appropriate to his own use the infinite intelligence called spirit. Moreover, with a few rare exceptions, man has not yet recognized thoughts as the connecting link which gives him access to the power of infinite intelligence. These expectations have been such men as Moses, Solomon, Christ, Plato, Aristotle, Socrates, Confucius, and a comparatively small number of others of their type. Since their time, we have had many who partly uncovered this great truth, yet the truth itself is as available now as it was then. And that right there, guys, was the traces of the thinking man. And that it just shows that the auto-suggestion of life, and that's what it could possibly be for you. Now, we're at the 25-minute mark, and I know I said I was going to get into suggestions and auto-suggestions, so obviously that's what we're doing next. And then after we do the suggestions and auto-suggestions, we are going to go over, yes, the self-confidence formula, I believe, and then we're going to finish it off today with a nice poem for failure. Just because everybody fails at something in life, and it's okay if you fucking fail. It's a good thing if you fucking fail. You just gotta remember that failing is what's gonna help you move on to the next fucking level of whatever you're trying to do. You're going to learn something. You're going to learn something, or you're not going to learn something. And you're going to fail again, and you're not going to learn something. You're going to fail again until you learn what you need to learn from all the failures about what to do and not how to act. It's just the way that you are supposed to be taught. You can get the easy way, or you can go the hard way. But either way, they're going to be easy for you. Now, let's jump into the suggestion and auto-suggestion, and then we'll do the self-confidence formula, all right? Suggestion and auto-suggestion. Through this and other lessons of the Law of Success course, the student has learned that sense impressions arising out of one's environment or from statements or actions of other people are called suggestions, while senses impressions that we place in our own minds are placed there by self-suggestion or auto-suggestion. All suggestions coming from others or from environment influence us only after we have accepted them and passed them on to the subconscious mind through the principle of autosuggestion. Thus, it is seen that suggestion becomes and must become autosuggestion before it influences the mind or of the one receiving it. Stated in another way, no one may influence another without the consent of the one influenced, as the influencing is done through one's own power of autosuggestion. The conscious mind stands during the hours when one is awake as a sentinel guarding the subconscious mind and warding off all suggestions which try to reach it from the outside, until those suggestions have been examined by the conscious mind, passed upon, and accepted. This is nature's way of safeguarding the human being against intruders who would otherwise take control of any mind's desired at will. It is a wise agreement. All right, so there we go. That is suggestion and auto-suggestion for you. I really hope you guys are taking something out of this, because I know I don't really care if you're taking something out of it. To be honest, I know I'm taking something out of it, which is good for me. That's because when I take something out of it, I get my whole life together, and that's what it's all about. That's what this short time on this world's about. Is about trying to get your shit together and finding out who you could possibly be before you run out of breath and run out of time. So, with now knowing the auto-suggestion and the law of how it works, and telling you that, you can hear somebody say something over and over and over again, but until you tell yourself the thought of auto-suggestion, all right, so somewhere in there, you're not going to know this. But to me, at the 28 minute mark and 51 second mark, the iPhone I had started doing something weird and paused it. I might have accidentally pressed the button, tapped to pause. And I don't know what you guys heard last, and I'm not gonna go back and try to figure it out. It's too much work. So, but right when I looked down to see where it was recording, I was talking about auto-suggesting to yourself, auto-suggestion. Somebody can tell you something over and over and over again, but until you put it into your mind and you think about it with your subconscious being, and you use some infinite intelligence of the thinking man, just like we went over in the tracing the steps of the thinking man, you got to believe that you can do it, and you got to auto-suggest unto yourself that you are capable of doing something before you do it. So Now, let's finish it up almost. Let's get into our self-confidence formula. Because the self-confidence formula covers the whole motherfucking book. And it's good for you to hear it. And it's good for me to listen to it. So let's get into our self-confidence formula. I know that I have the ability to achieve the object of my definite purpose. Therefore, I demand of myself persistent, aggressive, and continuous actions towards its attainment. I realize that the dominating thoughts of my mind will eventually reproduce themselves in an outward bodily action and gradually transform themselves into physical reality. Therefore, I will concentrate my mind for 30 minutes daily upon the task of thinking of the person I intend to be by creating a mental picture of this person and then transforming that picture into reality through practical service. I know that through the principle of autosuggestion, any desire that I persistently hold in my mind will eventually seek expression through some practical means of realizing it. Therefore, I shall devote 10 minutes daily to demanding of myself the development of the factors named in the 16 lessons of these reading courses on the law of success. I have clearly mapped out and written down a description of my definite purpose in life. For the coming 5 years, I have set a price on my services for each of those 5 years, a price that I intend to earn and receive through strict application of the principle of efficient, satisfactory service which I will render in advance. I fully realize that no wealth or position can long endure unless built upon truth and justice. Therefore, I will engage in no transaction which does not benefit all whom it affects. I will succeed by attracting to me the forces I wish to use and the cooperation of other people. Now, before we move on, and the cooperation of other people. What does that tell you right there at the beginning? What was our sponsor? The Wild Dogs, the Painted Dogs. That's right. They use cooperation to take down animals. They use cooperation to keep rival animals from stealing their food and killing their babies. I'm telling you, everything in this world is ran off of the self-confidence formula. I will induce others to serve me because I will first serve them. I will eliminate hatred, envy, jealousy, selfishness, and cynicism by developing a love for all humanity because I know that a negative attitude towards others can never bring me success. I will cause others to believe in me because I will believe in them and in myself. I will sign my name to this formula, commit it to memory, and repeat it aloud once a day with full faith that it will gradually influence my entire life so that I will become a successful and happy worker in my chosen field of endeavor. I hope you guys like that right there. Because now we're getting in to the end of the little knowledge drip here. And I want to finish with a poem that we have heard many times throughout. This poem is meant for the failing of life, because all of us at some point in our life are going to fail. We have failed. We will fail. We'll continue to fail, and we will continue to grow. And I've already done this. I've done this one before. I have done this poem before, but I really enjoy it. So before we sign off and say our goodbyes as the hyenas and the wild dogs, as I look behind me and make sure there's no wild dogs trying to eat my butthole, know that failure is around the corner for you, and you should learn to live with your failures and learn how to get past it. So here we go. When nature wants to make a man and shake a man and wake a man, when nature wants to make a man to do the future's will, when she tries with all her skill and she yearns with all her soul to create him large and whole, with what cunning she prepares him, how she goads and never spares him, how she wets him and she frets him, and in the poverty begets him, how she often disappoints, how she often anoints. With that wisdom she will hide him, never minding what betide him. Through his genuous swab with slightening, and his pride may not forget, bids him struggle harder yet, makes him lonely, so that only God's high message shall reach him, so that she may surely teach him. what the hierarchy planned. Though he may not understand, give him passions to command. How remorselessly she spurs him, with terrific ardor stirs him, when she poignantly prefers him. Lo the crisis, lo the shout, that must call the leader out. When the people need salvation, doth he come to lead the nation. Then doth nature show her plan, when the world has found a man. There is no failure that which looks to be failure is usually nothing but temporary defeat. Make sure that you do not accept your failure as a permanent defeat. Wow, we are 36 minutes in. Congratulations, guys. That's about when we're going to stop it. So, thanks for calling into the show today. Thanks for I was going to give you guys my Snapchat at the beginning, but I totally was waiting until the end of the podcast. You know why? Because I know how to run this knowledge drip. I've been doing it for a long time. I know how to. I don't care if you have to wait till the end. Shit. I mean, some podcasts give it out in the front. Some knowledge drips give it out in the middle, the end, the beginning, and all throughout. So if you want to hit me up on the Snapchat, that's really the best way to get a hold of me besides the email. So if you want to get a hold of my Snapchat and see what's going on in the world what I do, you can follow me at Big W, so it's BIGW, and then at the bottom is Bang, like BANGT. Now the reason that is that at the Big it has a W at the end, and at the Bang it has a T at the end. That's for Wild Thoughts. Well, make it easy, make it simple. Also, if you want to write into the show, you're more than welcome to. You can. Here's the email address, reflife32@gmail.com. If you want to write into the show, you're more than welcome. Well, guys, that's about all I got today. We're almost 37 minutes in. Congratulations on taking your next step towards your auto-suggestion life. And I hope you enjoy your breath before the wild dogs come and get you. Until next time, guys, this has been Wild Thoughts with your host, The Big Bang. Bye.